Hello, this is the movie Insurrectionist. I am your host, Rashad Humphrey, the movie Insurrectionist. Earlier this year, Carl Weathers, an FBA icon in entertainment, went on to be with the ancestors. If you were a fan of 1980s action cinema, you probably saw him in movies such as Action Jackson, Predator, and of course the Rocky series where he portrayed his most famous character, ApolloCreed. Carl Weathers was a tall, articulate black man with a magnificent mustache, deep voice, and tremendous on-screen presence. Carl Weathers was born on January 14, 1948 in New Orleans, Louisiana. As a child, he became interested in becoming an actor after watching various movies at the movie theater. He was a fan of all sorts of mainstream films at the time, but after seeing Sidney Poitier in movies such as Lilies of the Field, To Serve with Love, and In the Heat of the Night, he knew acting was his calling. However, before pursuing this dream, he played football since he was an extraordinary athlete. After excelling in the sport during high school, Carl Weathers attended San Diego State University on a football scholarship. Later, he was drafted into the NFL to play for the Oakland Raiders from 1970 to 1971. Then he played in the CFL, Canadian Football League, from 1971 until his retirement in 1973. Upon his retirement, Carl Weathers went back to California to pursue his dream of becoming an actor. He worked as a football coach for various colleges and universities within the Los Angeles area, where he pursued his dream of becoming an actor. He made a name for himself, guest starring on TV shows such as Good Times, Kung Fu, SWAT, The $6 Million Man, and McCloud. During the same time, he also co-starred in various movies such as Friday Foster and Bucktown, two notable films from the blaxploitation era of the 1970s. Nevertheless, it wasn't until 1976 that he played a role that will forever change his life. That role, of course, is Apollo Creed in Rocky. Loosely based on real-life fighter Chuck Webner, Rocky was a story about an underground Philadelphia club fighter who gets the opportunity of a lifetime to fight for the heavyweight boxing championship of the world. Loosely based on Muhammad Ali, Apollo Creed was supposed to be portrayed by real-life boxer Ken Norton. Unwilling to appear in the film, they had to select a new actor for the part. After seeing Carl Weathers in his initial audition, Sylvester Stallone decided that Carl Weathers was the appropriate choice to play Apollo Creed. In an interview, Stallone stated that his athleticism, voice made him right for the role. He also had a burden about him that made him right for this particular part. As we know, Rocky was a sleeper hit. It was nominated for several awards and won Best Picture at the Oscars, and it became cemented as a cinematic classic. After the success of Rocky, Carl Weathers went on to star in other films. Particularly, he worked with producer Joel Silver, who produced many of the big 80s action movies that were popular during that time. The first collaboration that he made with Joel Silver was Predator, which starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and was directed by John McTiernan. Weathers co-starred as Dylan, a CIA agent tagging along with Schwarzenegger's commando team to retrieve documentation needed by his agency. After Predator, he starred in Action Jackson, a movie vehicle that was developed specifically for him. Starring as the titular role, Weathers portrayed Action Jericho Jackson, a Detroit cop that squares off with an automobile manufacturing tycoon played by Craig T. Nelson. Despite what it says in IMDb, Action Jackson was not a financial flop. According to thenumbers.com, Action Jackson made $20 million on a $7 million budget. In fact, there were plans for a sequel, but the film rights were sold to Sony. As time passed, Carl Weathers moved on to other genres of film. In 1996, he co-starred in Adam Sandler's comedy Happy Gilmore, where he played his mentor, the one-hand Club Peterson. Later, he moved on to animation in Toy Story 4, where he voiced the character of Combat Carls. And after, he returned to the small screen in shows such as The Shield, Chicago Justice, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, ER, Arrested Development, and of course, his last credit, The Mandalorian. A few days ago, Carl Weathers received his star on the Walk of Fame posthumously. His two sons, Jason and Matthew, were there to accept this honor. Carl Weathers was the prototype of the black mainstream action star. The kind of roles that he portrayed would be picked up by Black actors such as Wesley Snipes, Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Carl Weathers exuded confidence, intelligence, class, swagger, machismo, which are all the qualities associated with an action-adventure star. Carl Weathers is a legend and an example of excellence for those of us as foundational Black Americans within movie and television. His legacy can be felt on screen even with his fictional son, Michael B. Jordan, in the movie series Creed. And as long as his work exists, so will Carl Weathers. Thank you for joining us here at the Movie Insurrectionist. If you wish to see movie reviews that are part of the legacy of Carl Weathers, click the videos in any of the corners of the clip. And remember, theatrical release will never be televised. Take care of yourselves. Boy, look at that mustache.